So I guess we need to start, otherwise even if people come in, because we have loads to say. So welcome to NDC London. Welcome to Exploring Patterns to Debug Your Life. I'm coming here, I'm Dennie Declercq. I speak a lot at conferences. And then I invited a very special guest, Miriam Perrone, very famous in the field in Belgium on her autism expertise. Although today we are not going to talk about autism, because we are special and we want to do special. So first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about us, who we are and why we are making this talk, what were our thoughts. We're going to talk about life patterns, not C# patterns or any other language, patterns in our life. And as patterns you can debug, so we're going to talk about how to debug those patterns. And of course, a conference talk is not about a theory. It's about how we did this. And there will be, normally, hopefully, time for some Q&A. I pass it over to Miriam.
Thank you, Dennie, for inviting me. Hello, everybody. My name is Miriam Perrone. I live in Belgium like Dennie, not with Dennie, but like Dennie. I have a coaching business. I coach people who are on the autism spectrum, and I coach their family, and also I coach their professional co-workers. So I'm actually also a consultant on several work spaces. To share my expertise in autism, I am a public speaker and a writer. In 2017, I wrote a book about autism, and that was published by a Belgian publisher. Recently, I started my own publishing business, and we publish with MPE Books, which stands for Miriam Perrone Books, not for e-books, although we do sell e-books as well. But MPE used to be my short signature, and now I'm using it for the branding. What do? We publish stories, children's books at the moment, and we try to reach children with some stories that have some valuable life lessons or things that I think that are valuable in life. And we try to do that in a very playful way and not like the teaching way. So I used to be a teacher, but this is the teaching I left. The writing business is another thing, it's a different thing. I think that was, okay. Dennie and I are going to merge some psychological insights with the IT world. So we're going to put them besides one another. And we hope that these insights are as valuable to you as they were and are for us. Thank you, Dennie.
Click.
Yeah. Click.
And you have a question?
Yeah, okay. Also, we're not only going to give you some tips and tricks about how to debug your life, but we're going to share with you some personal experiences as well. And my story will be about how welcoming certain feelings that we tend to push away rather than welcoming them, how to welcome certain feelings, make them go away by themselves. So, but that's for later.
And it's very interesting that Miriam has. So I am Dennie Declercq, and I'm president and developer at DDSoft. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I'm so happy that I achieved that award. It's one of the really big wow moments in my life, or maybe the biggest, well, one of the biggest. I started speaking, although I started speaking at conferences in 2017. And my first conference was an NDC conference. It was NDC Sydney. So I'm very happy to be back, still on the track, not back, still on the track after these years. Everything started with dreaming as believing about my life, dream to speak at loads of conferences. And I have one advice for you all, guys and girls and everyone. If you start to print your mantras on a shirt, you are really more than, you know what I mean, crazy. But I had really one question, and the question was, why am I sometimes so successful and everything works? Like I attract, if you call it, the nicest things. But sometimes everything goes wrong. I'm very anxious, not depressed, anxious, and nothing is working anymore. And the crazy thing is, how does it overlap each other? So in 2017, NDC, as I said, I had my very first relationship, just for a month. My relationship with that lovely girlfriend, my very first one, I was 30 years old. It was started July 2nd, so just a big month before NDC Sydney. That was half August. Very special. So my speaker career also started. After our relationship, after the conference, few days later, a huge week later, we really had our first big bad experience, big difficulties in our life. As I started speaking, as I started also the relationship, in the beginning of my speaker career, I didn't have lots of acceptance, but it was growing. But the more worried I was about our relationship, all the rest was going worse and worse. I'm also a volunteer at my own non-profit, also another non-profit. The more worries that I had in a relationship, the worse my DD software got, the worse conferences, the worse my work and the organization Ithaca, where everything started, got. That was fascinated me. And if I had the boost due to in personal life, everything was going up, also professional life. So a year later, my relationship unfortunately ended. This is the decision that I had made. She had also had her issues, even me tried lots of things, and me too. It's a thing. I not blame her. That's the reason that I don't say her name. And if she ever watched this talk, maybe I want to do it with respect because I still have contact with her. So a year later, everything ended. My speaker career was boosting, crazy, bananas. Also my non-profit, kind of, it was my speaker career. Then COVID came. For me, I get energy from traveling. My mental health was going below zero, to be honest. Not for catching COVID, because the whole isolation and being locked up. The disease was so far, but everything was going not that down again, because I knew some life patterns. So it really interested me in a lot of things. And we are going to say crazy things. Maybe we are going to say things that are not that scientific. Yeah, maybe you are that crazy. Or maybe you are saying, yeah, but that's what people are calling good feeling. So let's introduce you life patterns. What are they? And some patterns are more proven than other ones. By example, let's talk with Newton's law of gravity. The whole thing that you have, that Newton, that was an apple falling on his head, that was a story that he started to investigate into the law of gravity. That's also the reason the Earth is, in fact, nothing more than a sphere spinning around very fast in the universe. And if it's a sphere spinning around, some parts of the world are upside down. We are not falling. If we're going to a balcony, we are not shooting in the air. No, we are going down. But these things, another law, all started there, most of the things. But let's imagine law of proximity. The law of proximity is a law that we use all in IT. If you just, especially if you combine sales and IT, the landing pages, the place you put buttons on the screen is really the law of proximity. It's about the size of an object comparing to the distance to another object or to the person that you see. So if you put a big big button, click here, and a smaller button, but if you click here, you can get it also for free. The chance is big that they're going to click the big button and they're going to charge you. And then you have the law of attraction. That's something, it's not scientific proven yet, but please mention the word yet. And it's about, if you're thinking about nice things, if you're thinking in terms of opportunities, you are experiencing opportunities. If you're thinking in opportunities like losing, like in the sports, I'm not that sure that you're going to win. Because your mind vibrates. And vibrations have frequencies. Oh, Dennie, yeah, I know. I didn't read about something, and it's not proven. Yes. Next slide, I'm talking about some kinds of signs that will change everything. But we are feeling it. By example, if you're sitting next to someone, and that person really has a bad day, and you have a conversation, it will feel different than somebody have a good day and is really passionate in what he's doing. This is law of attraction. This is frequencies that we are vibrating, although I didn't measure. Let's go to the radio world. I know radio killed the video star, but if you go back to the frequencies of the frequency modulation, so the early radios, we are not talking about the digital era. All those frequencies they're all broadcasted everywhere, but you need to really pinch your receiver to the right channel to hear it. Otherwise, you hear another channel, and otherwise, if you're in between channels, you hear noise. Just the same, our mind work, or our bodies work. The only difference is it's not measured yet. Why? Because we all know that the scientific model that we have right now is going to go to difficult changes, is going to estimate different questions. So that's the reason quantum computing is nothing more than a new way of computers built on the already existing beginning points of the quantum science. So you have quantum science as a whole new way of scientific working, and quantum computers are just a way to embrace counting and working with this quantum science. And I am sure, I assume that quantum will measure things that we didn't do with the classical way of working. And it doesn't have to be that philosophical. And it's not if you are going to your bed tonight and you are thinking about tomorrow I want to wake up with a banknote of £1,000 under my pillow. No, it's not going to happen. But something about energy and feelings and vibration you will measure.
So there is several ways to dig into this law of attraction. And one of the practical ways that I would like to have a closer look at today with you is kind of a behavioral framework that I borrowed from the cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT short. Cognitive behavioral therapy aims that the thoughts, the feelings, and the behavior people have are related with each other. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings make us do something or do not something. And the behavior will reinforce the thoughts. That's what cognitive behavioral therapy tells us. Now, in CBT, there are five, how you say it? Five parts. Sorry, English is not my mother tongue either, so sometimes I have to look for the words. There are 5 parts of CBT. First, you have a situation. Something happens. There is an event. For example, you failed for an exam. Okay? So then people have all kinds of thoughts about the things they see or the things that happen to them. Okay? So thoughts that might pop up into your mind when failing a test could be like, I'm not smart enough, I'll never be good at this, I'll fail again, and stuff like that, okay? The next one is feelings. Thoughts make us feel a certain way. And to experience this consciously, let's do a little exercise here and now. In a few minutes, not now, let me explain first. We're going to close your eyes. If you're not feeling comfortable closing your eyes, that's okay, just don't close them. We're going to close our eyes and say no to everything that comes to us. To everything. Just close your eyes. Is there a thought popping up like, I'm hungry? No. Oh, this chair is nice. No. Maybe you smell something? No. You hear something, even my voice? No. Everything that comes to you, just answer it with no. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Then when you're ready, close your eyes. Let's do this for a while. So everything that you experience, whether you hear it, or you feel it, or you smell it, is no. Okay, you can open your eyes again. Can you feel what this no saying did to you? Okay, then shake it off. Shake your arms, your legs, your shoulders, your head, just shake it off. Okay. We're going to do the same exercise, but instead of answering everything with no, we will answer it with a yes. So instead of rejecting, we will allow what comes to us. So any thought, you know, I'm thirsty, no. I hate blah, blah, blah. Yes. Not the no, the yes. The yes part this time. So you smell something, yes. It's okay, yes. You welcome it, you let it be, okay? So, and try to even, you know, really answer it in your head, not pronouncing it out loud, but really use the word yes, okay? Good, close your eyes again. Let's do this for a minute. Okay, you can open your eyes again. Can you feel what this yes saying did to you? And can you feel if there is a difference between the no exercise and the yes exercise? Saying no often causes a lot of, you know, like feelings of unrest and agitation in our heads, you know? While saying yes brings a certain peace of mind, a certain comfort, okay? So yes and no are only two small words, but you could experience right now, at this moment, the difference about how you felt saying no, and how you felt inside saying yes. So what we think has an effect on how we feel. And how we feel has an effect on what we do or what we don't do, on our behavior. If you feel calm and happy, then you will be open, friendly, cordial. When you're feeling sad, angry, anxious, you won't be very much open. Maybe even, you know, quickly irritable, or even harsh to other people. And our behavior, in turn, has an effect. It has consequences. If you are friendly towards other people, there is a good chance that others respond to your kindness in a positive way. But if you're harsh, if you're rude to other people, well, the chance to come across a short answer is not unrealistic. Okay? In general, people avoid other people who speak negatively or have an unfriendly look. In general, people feel attracted to other people who radiate positivity, who are friendly, and yes, who have a smile on their face, who wear a smile on their face. So what this framework is all about is that you can't change what happens, you know? If something happened, it happened, it's there. You can't change, we can't go back in time. So please, my friends, don't spoil any of your energy there. But what we can change is the way that we think about what happened, okay? So how do we do that? Let me tell you a little story about, let's call her Anna. This young lady came to my coaching practice at my home, and she was like, Miriam, I need help, you need to help me. And I was like, oh, what's wrong? I have a job interview next week. And I was like, Anna, well, that's good news. You're looking for a job for several weeks now, so being invited in an interview, that's good, right? No. I said, why not? Miriam, last time, when I went to a job interview, I was not hired. And the feedback that they gave me was that I was not hired because to them, I didn't seem motivated to have the job, motivated enough. And I think that's because I didn't smile during the interview. So the case was that when Anna is very stressed, she isn't able to smile because she's so stressed that she cannot relax her facial muscles. So she has this very, like serious look on her face. And that made the interviewer think that, does she really want to work here? Like, this is not the appearance that we expect people to have when they want to work here, when they really want this job. So now she was scared. And, now she was scared, and she was thinking that, like, they will think I'm not motivated, that I don't really want the position, and then I won't get the job that I, in fact, really do want so badly. But, okay, imagine somebody having these thoughts. In Anna's case, she was feeling very insecure, restless, tensed, and nervous. And in her case, the behavior that she showed when feeling this way was that she wasn't able to smile. She couldn't smile, she couldn't put a friendly look on her face. She had a very tensed and serious expression. Okay, the outcome we know was that people did interpret this as not very motivated, and she was not selected for the job. Okay, now, as I said, the situation, it is what it is. You can't change that. She wasn't hired, period. What we can change is her thoughts. We can try to change the unhelpful thought into a more helpful one. Why do I call it an unhelpful thought? Well, because this thought didn't have the outcome that we want. Well, that's not helping, right? So let's try to think of a more helpful thought. What about, I am very motivated to get this position. I have all the capabilities to function well in it, and I am very talented for this job. Well, imagine, picture someone having, these thoughts in her head right before entering the room of the interview, where the interview is going to take place. Well, what are feelings that might come with this thought? Anyone? How would you feel when thinking this?
Confident.
Confident, exactly. What
Relaxed.
else? Relaxed. Yeah, indeed. Self-confident and relaxed. Okay, picture now a self-confident, relaxed person thinking she is totally capable and she is very motivated and she is really the one that these people want for the job. Picture somebody like this going to an interview, sitting there. How will it look? Well, when I picture that, I can see somebody able to have a relaxed conversation and even relax her facial muscles. Maybe even tell a joke during the interview and laugh and smile. And the outcome might be that the interviewers interpret this behavior as, that's a confident person. Whoa, she looks capable for this. Yeah, and she's friendly too. So yeah, maybe we would want this type of person in our team. Yeah, why not hire her? Or why not make her come back for the second round or next round of the interviewers? Okay, so the bottom line of this framework is that you can't change what happened, but you can change your thoughts. And if you want to change a certain outcome, try to change your thoughts and then see what happens. This is the way that we can actually debug our life by exploring and changing our thinking patterns. Oh, sorry, Denny.
So, to be honest, that is such an interesting topic that I also use, and it just works. But let us be honest, we are here at a software conference. And we want to see this. If we hear about debugging, we are thinking on computers. So why not putting those sides together? And to doing this, we are going debugging a change because there's something not working. We are developing a front-end system and we're having a web form. We build a web form, we run it, spin it in our IDE. Is it Visual Studio or whatever? Is it JetBrains? Is it code? We run it. Oh my God, it's not working. We were sure if we built it that it would work. We didn't expect that it was not working. What can we do? Maybe we struggle a bit and we see that it is the validation code. So there's something in the validation not working, and that's the reason the web form is not working. Okay. How are we going to debug that? If you are like me, I think most of the ways to debugging is removing parts of the code. And removing, of course, can be commenting out. It's not that you remove a whole part. Maybe you are more clever and you use the comment out. You find it more a safe feeling. Because if you move it, it's away. And if you're coming in out, maybe later you can uncomment some lines again and look what is going to happen. But let's imagine that it's the whole validation method. We remove it completely or commenting out. And we are researching and we are replacing it. So we are adding a new validation method. We launch debug mode. We launch our web form. Boom, it's working. Yes! The new way of validation, maybe a more modern style of coding, it works. Is it over? No. Because this is just one web form and one project who is working right now. What going to do? Maybe the way of coding used for this is kind of a new way of coding, a new way of methodology that we never used before, by example, is more pattern matching, or it's another way of the syntax, and we exercise it because until it is our way of working. So we are replacing also other part of the website, other part of other project with a new, brand new way of the validation. And you are repeating this over and over again. So please go back to the example that Miriam was saying. And you will see it's just the same. You remove unhelpful thoughts. Instead of that, you are adding new thoughts, so helpful thoughts. And you will see that it's working. And you exercise it for different situations in your life. That it becomes kind of your lifestyle, and you repeat it. So it's just the same. You can use it in your life. So we are just going to review our life as we review our magnificent code. But you can talk about it.
Can I add
Of
something?
course, you can always do this for me.
We'd like to add that why is it so important that we exercise this? It's interesting to know that the unhelpful thoughts are the ones popping up into our minds automatically. So it's necessary for us to be aware, to be conscious about this automatic mechanism, and then exercise to switch the mindset frequently. Now, frequently, according to some studies, a human brain has 52 thoughts per hour. That's almost 1 per minute. So we have a lot of opportunities to exercise there.
But the question is, as I said, speaking at the conference is not about the theory. It's not about saying what to do without showing, because we all know that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So let's talk about conferences and girlfriends. So as said, the relation has ended. So we all know the term a mental backpack. I think our backpacks were not compatible. But if I ever go into a new relation, and of course I hope this, it's a human thing that you hope this, that you visit, I'm pretty sure that I will need to loosely couple things. I will need to loosely couple the relation and conference success, loosely coupling the relation and success with my non-profit if we are going to teach more and more courses internationally and giving trainings. But the other thing is, you should work also on the fields. Like, let's go to conferences. Work on the content. If I was always submitting still the same content on my very first conference in 2017, I wouldn't be here. You don't deliver the talk 10, 20 times over multiple years because all the people have seen it, and otherwise it will also be outdated, to be honest. The things that I talk about, it was also a coding project I talked about in 2017. This code is definitely deprecated, to be honest. And it's normal. So you need to work on it. Work on new content. Work on ways of updating your content. So work on it. Really important. And also getting new styles, like trying with co-speakers, trying new ways of layout, trying new topics. What can I say? Are there limits? Can I say everything? No, of course not. But what can I say? What not? What does matter to me? And I really believe in being vulnerable. Just being vulnerable and open. This also means if you are have a conversation to somebody, indicating where you maybe are an expert, but where you have your learning points. If somebody give advice in professional life and in personal life, be vulnerable, accept it. Yes, you have a point. That could be better next time. I work on it. But the other thing also, let's imagine a new relation is coming up. Just imagine I have nobody in my head. We have our own life. I shouldn't say at this time, okay, now I'm in a relation, I stop speaking at conferences. No, because conference life is my life. So I should say to her, vulnerable, To be honest, I know we love each other, but I will be out of home loads of times because I have a passion for conferences. If I should couple this together and change myself completely, you don't do that. But it's not only in relationship, it's also in family and also in work. If you are going to try to hunt for a job, let's imagine you are also a person who visits lots of conferences, or you are even a conference speaker, and you are hunting for a new job, but the job is saying, yeah, but we don't do anything in the community, we don't do anything from conferences, but yeah, you will have a good paycheck. Do you really want this? Or maybe other people are going to do this, do better. It's all important to think about this. But you don't need to be only vulnerable to other people. It's nuts. If you are not really honest to yourself. And I make these mistakes. I think we are doing it. We are lying to ourselves. We are pretty good species in lying to ourselves. That happened, unfortunately, a little bit. Well, not a little bit. Way too much in the pandemic, by example. I was doing great. I was not that anxious. No, I lied. I didn't lie intentionally to my environment, like my parents and my professional medical network. I lied to myself. And then you start to believe in it. And then afterwards I could say to the people, yeah, I didn't say the right things, but I didn't lie to you. I lied to myself. And believe there are people wanting you to help. Do you know that loads of people really are waiting to help you, but you don't, if you are not vulnerable, and you don't ask it, or you don't say something is difficult, people are waiting in lines if you don't see to help you. Because if they help you, you give them a pleasure. You give them a present. Because as human beings, we are built to help each other. So if I am not asking help to somebody who is able to help me, I am taking them away the pleasure of helping me. I don't think that's my job. And work on trust. Trust is very important. And to be honest, let's go back to computers again. If we look to privacy and data privacy and hacking, and it's all built on non-trust about there is always somebody with bad intent. And they are there, to be honest, in the IT field. And sometimes in personal life too. But there are way more people with good intent. So trying to find who to trust. Try to find who to trust where you can work on something. And it can be personal, professional, or both. Because that is the way how it works. And I did it. When I was really my, let's say, darkest days in the pandemic, I really said to somebody, my personal coach, I really say, no, sorry. I'm pretending that I'm better than I am. I am really anxious. It's not okay. I'm pretending it's okay, but it's really not okay. I needed to trust them. That was my coach, Alke, at that time. Otherwise, she didn't know and she couldn't help me. That's the same thing. So important. And please remember, people are in lines to help you if you trust them.
Okay. Now, what if trying to change your unhelpful thoughts and helpful ones seems more like a struggle than a therapy? Well, sometimes it is better to accept a thought than try to change it. Let me tell you a story of my own experience. It happened a few months ago. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, shortly before the COVID pandemic, so about 2 or 3 years ago. And since trauma, my head started to believe people are terrifying. A few months ago, I was invited to have a talk on autism in a venue near my home. And the night before, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had one of these panic attacks. I'm having these attacks for a few years now, but you never get used to those, believe me. So that night, I woke up and I really, I had this panic attack and I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating. I was like, oh, come on, Miriam, what's this? You're a public speaker since 2013. You do this, you're good at it. You're never nervous, so then what's this about? I'm really never nervous, not even today. I'm one of these people that are born to work on a stage, whether it is for a talk or performing in a play, it's no problem for me. Speaking in public is no problem for me. So I was like, what's this? I was like, yeah, but I'm scared. Scared? You? Why? You know this. You're an expert in autism. You're one of the experts. People are coming to hear you talk, to learn from you. So what's the beep problem, And then, suddenly I started crying. My anxiety really got to a very high level, and I shouted out loud there in my bed in the middle of the night, people are terrifying. And then I was like, okay, people are terrifying. Fine. It is what it is. And from that moment that I admitted to myself that I felt this way and that this feeling, this thought was allowed to be there, I welcomed the feeling and it started to go away by itself. I was calming down, and a few minutes later I was even able to get back to sleep again. So first I tried to convert the unhelpful thought, like I'm scared, into the helpful ones, like what's there to be scared of? I'm confident, I know this stuff. I'm one of the experts. There's no problem. But it didn't work. When it doesn't work, don't hang on to things that don't work. Try something else. And what I try to do is to acknowledge to myself that this was a feeling I had, this was the anxiety I was experiencing, and that it was what it was. Acceptance doesn't mean that you have to, how you say it?
You have to like it.
You have to like it. Yeah, I didn't like it, but it was there. It's what it is. Just let it be, Acceptance doesn't mean that you have to make it more fun, When sometimes people use this quote, like, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about to learn how to dance in the rain. Well, in this context, I don't agree with this quote. Because it's not about trying to make something more funny or more, more fun. Acceptance is about just letting it be. It is what it is. I'm more a fan of this quote. Accept what you can't change, and change what you can't accept. And the other way around, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. So today, we learned about life patterns that you might or might not know before. And of course, we didn't only tell you about those life patterns. We connected the dots with the cognitive behavioral therapy framework that Miriam brought very well. And then we scratched the surface or thought how to debug our life, how we can change way of thinking, how this will change your way of behaving, and this may change the outcome. I compared the two computers, and you saw that it's just the way that we are working all the eggs before already. And sometimes it's not working, and then you just need to accept. Free that energy. Free that energy of frustration this way, most of the time, or it will go over again. I want to thank you all for coming to this talk. I'm very active on Twitter. You can mail me, you can do what you want. Yeah, mailing me or tweeting me, let's say. But more, Miriam has contact details, and even more than that, we do have some time for some questions, and we try to provide some answers. Yes, sir?
Talk about the exercises there. I find the hard thing with things like this is remembering at the time to do it. So I guess continuing the computing analogy, do you retrospectively practice an exercise as well, or do you have to get into the situation where you do it in at that point in time?
So I love your question. I just start with recapping the question for the recordings. So the question is, so I guess bringing it back to the way of computing, and if you exercise some way of thinking, some way of behavior thinking, do you also have retrospective like you have in computers? Of course I do. And one example of this retrospective is making such a talk. If you are making a conference talk about it, it's a very big retrospective. But I also do it for myself after some times, and also together most of the time with my little professional help network. It's not that big, but do you review what you changed and if it's working well or if it's need to adjust it a little bit extra?
Yes, I do. Since 2009, I go to a psychologist monthly, not because I'm not feeling well. At this moment, I'm feeling great, but it helps me to, talk about things and do some retrospective exercises on what happened and how I dealt with it. What's difficult, and what I hear in your question as well, is that sometimes when something happens to us or when we see something that affects us a lot, the emotion is so heavy that you can't remember, oh yeah, wait, unhelpful thoughts, helpful thoughts, blah, 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 that's what you meant, right? Yeah. And that's true. When emotions are heavy, we can't remember these techniques. So what I do recommend is emotions are not always equally heavy. So when you are aware of something happening to you and unhelpful thoughts, in a situation where your emotions are not very heavy, you can start there. You can start your practice right there. Also, you can help others. When others, your kids or your partner or some friends, talk to you and tell you some things, and they express unhelpful thoughts to you, try to help them, convert them into helpful ones, by asking some questions, not by doing it for them, because then they won't learn. But these are the moments that you can start practicing, you can start exercising, and then hopefully in moments where it is too heavy for you, then because of the practice having going on before, it's more likely you will succeed then as well when emotions get more heavily. English is definitely not my mother tongue, so I hope it's a little bit clear what I'm trying to say. Okay, somebody else? Some questions?
Other questions?
Yes?
suggestion because I was kind of, I thought it's very interesting the whole thing about helpful versus unhelpful. Because one of the things that I realized in my own practice of doing these types of mindful techniques, whatever you want to call it, is that it basically requires you to be in a healthy sort of state. Because when you are like already mentally on some downward track, then it's very difficult to be able to even get out of it. So I would highly recommend to also do that with a coach or mentor.
Yeah.
And to basically reflect and do this type of retrospective openly with someone else that you trust. Because that helps you to basically level to see where you are.
Exactly.
Just to maybe just repeating for the people watching the recording.
Yeah.
So it was not really a question, but more a thought and advice. And the person was saying, maybe you should not only exercise these moments when a negative feeling occurs, because in that time, your mood is already going down the drain too much. It's better to start doing this, for example, like mindfulness on times that you are going great. And the mindfulness that you can do, of course, also with your coach or therapist. That's a thing, of course, we're also doing this. I'm also doing this. I'm even in an online mindfulness group. And we do it bi-weekly, by example, just exercising. And it can also be in the very good moments. Another thing to work on is also on happy thoughts. So mindfulness is one of the things. Another way of a meditation is more visualization, is really imagining or, let's say, reprogramming some situations, how it could be better. Yeah, I definitely agree with that and recommend it also. Where are we doing this?
In fact, I learned the framework from my psychologists back in 2009. So sometimes you just don't get out of it on your own. Most of the time we do. Sometimes it's not possible. And then you can reach out for help. And a coach or a good friend or a psychologist might help you. They know some techniques as well. And then, you know, that's, yeah, definitely.
Other questions?
Yeah, please feel free. I have big teeth, but I don't bite.
Yeah. So, I think you want lunch.
Yeah,
I give you some minutes for lunch earlier.
We're here till Friday.
Of course.
So if there's something that you would like to ask or discuss, but not in public, feel free to grab my arm. Also then I won't bite.
And don't forget to vote. I heard the green ones are the nicest ones to get, so and just what I heard. So just vote what you feel you need to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.